Inspiration for today's episode of Cinema Sounds and Secrets comes from Han Solo, courtesy of Star Wars.
Hey, Luke. May the Force be with you.
Welcome to Cinema Sounds and Secrets, the podcast for anyone who loves movies. I'm your host, Janet Doolin-Jones. Today we're getting up close and personal with two of the greatest thrilling film enterprises ever. Films by Alfred Hitchcock and the James Bond franchises. So let's hang out on Mount Rushmore with Cary Grant and dive into the Jamaican Sea with the sexiest and coolest James Bond ever, Sean Connery. Let's go to the movies. So these are both iconic mid-century, 20th century movies that give us, again, iconic filmmakers and leading men.
Okay.
So these are manly men. This is our manly men moment. So the first movie on our manly men of the 20th century moment
Drum roll.
North by Northwest.
Oh, what?
North by Northwest, 1959, number 55 on
Brilliant.
the AFI Best 100.
Yeah, there you go.
Alfred Hitchcock, truly at the top of his top of his game.
Yeah.
This movie is so much stupid fun that it almost defies. It might be my favorite.
It's what, Hitchcock film? Oh, yeah. I think it probably is, just because, it
just goes.
It goes.
It goes places.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes. So before I get into a little bit of the story, which I promise I will do for those who aren't that familiar with it, it's Alfred Hitchcock, the wonderful Ernest Lehman, Robert Burks. I will speak more about Lehman in a little bit. Bernard Herrmann, yet again, the man who gave us the Citizen Kane score, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, hundreds of great film scores. Cary Grant as Roger Thornhill.
Oh.
Debonair ad
He
man.
just, it's just like it is. This is Cary Grant.
Yes.
This film just.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when my mom, one weekend, I got us tickets to a Cary Grant evening because I must have been in the early 90s, just before he died. Well, it was before he died. I don't feel like it was late 80s. No, I think it was the 90s. She really wanted to see it, so I surprised her getting tickets with, childhood earnings money.
Yeah.
And we went.
Nice.
And we listened to him talk. And it was great. And he just, he was a raconteur.
Yeah.
And he just talked about his life and career and that beautiful voice.
Yeah.
And he was Archie Leach from the East End.
Mm.
You know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, East End kid.
Exactly.
Yeah. Eva Marie. Archie Leach.
Archie.
There is a joke in one of his movies. Is it Philadelphia Story where somebody says something about Archibald Leach and he goes, "Oh, Archie Leach, I remember him." Yes. Eva Marie Saint, as
Stunning.
Eve Kendall, the femme fatale, who is less fatale than we are led to believe, which is good. James Mason is the baddie. Leo G. Carroll as one of the baddies, and Martin Landau in his first role. Who Martin Landau?
Really, was it his first role?
His first role.
Big, it launched
first
him.
big role. Yeah.
Amazing.
And I'll have a whole story about him and what he did. He, because he later went to Mission Impossible fame,
that's right.
and then a great career as a character actor.
Yeah.
Tucker, which we talked about in the last cast. Ed Wood won the Oscar.
That's right.
Crimes and Misdemeanors, et cetera, et cetera. A wonderful actor. And for 6 weeks, one summer, he was my acting coach. I know. He was so nice. It was a little studio in Beverly Hills.
There you go.
These backside streets.
Love it.
And he was doing a master class, and I would do that, not to be an actor. I wanted to be a better writer.
Yeah.
And I would go do classes with really good people who were doing either writing or acting classes, and he was great and really lovely. He'd been a Meisner student, and he was fantastic.
Yeah, great.
Lovely man. So this movie had 3 Oscar nominations: Best Writing, Story, and Screenplay for Ernest Lehman, and Art Direction and Editing. And it's absolutely it's a gorgeous film. It is gorgeous. Yeah. So let's talk about this story. So Bernard Herrmann, the wonderful composer, who did all of Hitchcock's movies, introduced Hitchcock and Lehman, and they're originally working on the Incident of the Merry Deer, which is a movie that was made later, but oddly with Charlton Heston and Gary Cooper in 1959, and the same year that Heston did Ben-Hur. I mean, Heston was on a roll then. He was like one of the new manly men. And so they just couldn't crack it. They were just having a hard time with the adaptation. And Hitchcock's like, I've got this idea for a man who's an everyman who is mistaken for a spy. And they chase him to Mount Rushmore.
I mean, Mount Rushmore.
So that was the idea. Yeah.
So
As you do.
What you think of.
As you do.
It's what you think of, though.
Yeah.
When you see this, when anyone says North by Northwest, you go, Rushmore.
Yes, another
Biplane.
iconic moment.
Biplanes.
Somebody hanging from the nose of Lincoln, you know, as you do. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So they did the story, and eventually it turned out an ad executive is mistaken for a spy by, a murderous spy master trying to bring down the UN and destroy the USA and smuggling microfilm to Russia, which of course the microfilm is just the, the MacGuffin.
Yep.
And so it's really fun. And it was kind of, Hitchcock had been inspired from a story by a man named Otis Guernsey. He was an American journalist. And Guernsey worked for the World War II in British intelligence. And he just had an idea about a fictitious officer and secret papers and a body and mistaken identity. And so Hitchcock, he sold that, and it's just a little story. He sold it to Hitchcock for $10,000. And it turned into this then incredibly wonderful thriller.
Yeah, never stops moving. This
thriller.
Movie never stops
moving. And Ernest Lehman had come off of, he was also the writer of later of Sweet Smell of Success. I mean, he was just a great screenwriter. And so they just teamed together, did the script, and the person who really wanted to do the movie was James Stewart. And Stewart would have been fine.
Yeah.
But Cary Grant is an ad executive.
Yeah.
Right? And
he is
James,
Don Draper.
Yes.
He's the original Don Draper.
Yeah, and James Stewart was really more fitted for, Rear Window and The Man Who Knew Too Much.
I think he's less front foot than Cary Grant. Yeah, he's much more.
He's a little more open and accessible.
Yeah.
Cary Grant, you never really quite know. Oh. And that's what's lovely. Yeah. He could just play that slightly, Don Draper, slightly closed down, very in the vest, keeping it all in the vest. And Hitch really wanted Cary Grant, so he just waited until Jimmy Stewart was hired for another movie. And then he started shooting his.
How not to upset people. Just wait till they're working.
Right. And what's wonderful about Bernard Herrmann and Hitchcock's rapport, he had 51 days to write all the music after the movie was scored. And it was chase music. We'll play a lot of the score because it's wonderful. Yeah, it is. Chase music, suspense music, love music. It was an improbable, unpredictable plot. Cary Grant never knew what the story was. He says, I have no idea where I am. I don't know what I'm doing. And just and crazed. But so for Herman to come in and create this, it is a truly fabulous, score of great music. He did over 50 films, including he worked with, like I said, Orson, Hitchcock, Truffaut, and Martin Scorsese.
Wow. Yeah.
I believe he did Taxi Driver and died a few hours after finishing the score for Taxi Driver.
Wow.
Yeah, really amazing career, amazing composer. And the title originally was The Man in Lincoln's Nose.
Oh my Lord.
He didn't know what to call it. So it was called The Man in Lincoln's Nose.
Yeah.
And then, there was this whole, story that, it's from Hamlet. It's the north. The
wind blows, but
yes,
northwest.
the north by northwest.
Yeah.
And more of it was really, he's kind of north, but then he goes west. So it was a little more,
I think I think you can kind of When the wind blows southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw is Hamlet.
Yes.
So basically knowing you can't fool me. So retrograde, putting it retrospectively, probably was like, I know something I can put on there.
Yeah. And they always thought they'd come up with something else, but it just stuck. And and it does work.
Yeah.
It just works. So Cary Grant, was so concerned. At one point he told Hitchcock, I think it's a terrible script. And I can't make head or tails of it. And Hitchcock said this is good.
Yeah.
Because it kept Grant off his
Yeah.
game. So he does. If you
can't
watch
play
the
the
film,
end.
he is kind of in running mode, flight mode the entire time, which is fantastic. They almost went to Yul Brynner at one point. And Bill Holden was interested in the price. Dean Martin was interested in it. Gregory Peck, Sinatra. And for the women, it was Sid Charisse and Sophia Loren and Elizabeth Taylor.
Yeah.
And then Eva Marie Saint got the role. And when she was showing up in her costumes and showing them off to Hitchcock, because you hear he was very odd with women.
Yeah.
They're very objectified.
Yeah.
He did not like her costumes, and he just took her to Bergdorf's in New York City, and they picked out her clothes off the rack.
Nice.
And he dressed her off the rack. What's great about Eva Marie Saint and her character in the movie is you don't know if she's good or is she bad. And she is, and it's an unusual twist in a Hitchcock story. She saves Cary Grant's life 3 times.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's by hiding him in the toilet, shoving him in the bunk, using her shaving kit. And so it's fun. She was a very proactive female lead.
Yeah.
A lot of times when women were standing in a ring in their hands, she was much more active and provocative. And she was a very different heroine. You remember they have that sexy talk on the train.
Yeah.
And there was all this hoo-ha about the sexy talk on
That
the train.
train was that scene.
All the train stuff.
I know
all the train stuff.
I know, I look vaguely familiar.
Yes.
You feel you've seen me somewhere before.
Mm-hmm.
Funny how I have that effect on people. It's something about my face.
It's a nice face.
You think so?
I wouldn't say it if I didn't.
Oh, you're that type.
What type?
Honest.
Not really.
Good, because honest women frighten me.
Why?
I don't know. Somehow they seem to put me at a disadvantage.
Because you're not honest with them?
Exactly.
Like that business about the 7 parking tickets?
What I mean is, the moment I meet an attractive woman, I have to start pretending I've no desire to make love to her.
What makes you think you have to conceal it?
She might find the idea objectionable.
Then again, she might not.
Think how lucky I am to have been seated here.
Well, luck had nothing to do with it.
Fate?
I tipped the steward $5 to seat you here if you should come in.
Is that a proposition?
I never discuss love with an empty stomach.
You've already eaten.
But you haven't.
But it's even when he meets her and he sits and they're having their lunch and she says, I never make love on an empty stomach or something like that, or kiss on an empty stomach. Right. So she's wonderful. The other woman in the movie who is wonderful and she's hilarious is the woman who plays his mother. Remember the lovely redheaded actress plays his very New York society mom?
Yeah.
and he's meeting her for lunch.
Yeah. Okay.
And she had the hat and the fur,
right. Yeah,
the fox.
Yes, that's right. the fox
Her
fur.
name is Jessie Royce Landis.
Okay.
And in reality, she was only 7 years older than Cary Grant.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a little bit like Lawrence Harvey and Angela Lansbury in Manchurian Candidate. She was only 6 years older. Right. But it's crazy. You just do the hair.
Yeah.
You do the hair and you do that matronly dress. And it's extraordinary, isn't it? God, I don't think you could get away with that today in anything. Yeah.
No, Mother, I have not been drinking. No, these two men, they poured a whole bottle of bourbon into me. No, they didn't give me a chaser. No.
Come on, let's go.
Well, I'm not finished yet.
Yes, you are. Come on.
Mother, I gotta go now. Will you get my lawyer right away and come out and bail me out?
Tomorrow morning, tell her.
Tomorrow morning, he says. Oh, I don't know. I'll ask her. She wants to know who says.
Sergeant Emil Klinger.
Sergeant Emil. Sergeant Emil Klinger. No, I didn't believe it either. I'm all right, Mother. Good night. Good night, yeah.
That they shot the movie in the UN, if you remember, there's that whole sequence. Yep. They were not allowed at the UN, so everything the camera had to be hidden. They did it all on guerrilla filming.
So you're saying they actually shot in the UN, but they weren't.
And outside of it,
yeah,
and all those lobby,
because
all the lobby stuff and everything.
To film it.
They wouldn't let them. No,
they are.
No.
Yeah.
Now they were also supposed to film at Mount Rushmore, and they were up at Mount Rushmore, and they were filming a lot of effects and places and everything, and they had tons of footage without the actors. They were just doing second unit, and and then the Mount Rushmore people were like, oh, we don't really want you running around all our stuff. And so they went back and then they built a fake Rushmore. But because they had so much real footage, when it's all played together, I mean, everyone thought they'd shot everything literally off of Lincoln's nose. Because it's a great sequence.
It is.
I don't know that there's anything quite.
Well, I think it's been it's been parodied.
Has been parodied.
It's
been. I think I have some parodies here somewhere. I think even in Guardians of the Galaxy they parody stuff from it. But it's.
But the scene of the crop dusting.
Oh well,
has been done again and again.
And the crop duster was just a one take thing. Oh my God! With that plane, they just did it all. Out there in the field in like a day.
Dusting crops, but there aren't no crops.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, I remember watching that for the first time.
Yeah.
And getting that pit in my stomach going, oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably.
That's a hell of a stunt.
How did they even.
I know.
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
You just go, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to know that, well, there's all the sexy train stuff, which is fun. But the crop duster. And the crop duster is topped by Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. It like I said, it doesn't stop. It doesn't.
No.
And I think you should play some of the Hitchcock used to present his films, and this is a genius.
Yes.
So he does a trailer.
His little intro.
His trailer for North by Northwest is genius.
Have you planned your vacation yet? You've a choice between sand and sunburn or mountain climbing and the Charlie horse. I find it all very enervating, but we should all have some kind of holiday. So my suggestion is a quiet little tour, say about 2,000 miles. Now for the best news of all. You can enjoy this wonderful vacation while seated comfortably in this theater. I promise you nothing but entertainment. A vacation from all your problems, as it was for me.
Yeah, they're funny. They're really funny. He is a woman on a bus in this one. So if I can find it, I'll throw it.
Yes, Hitchcock cameo.
So I'll put that on my on the website. And
and we'll have some fun with that because it's hilarious. And some of the trailers are really funny. So we have all kinds of fun things we're going to have on the website.
What's really good about this, because it doesn't stop moving, it is a thriller, but it is light. It's accessible. It's
very
not dark.
funny.
Yeah, it's funny, and
it's very funny.
It's a great film, and it just moves.
And there's the whole. Do you remember the whole sequence with he thinks he's gone through a party over the bridge, and they're like, it's geese.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Still isn't right. I'm like, what? How did they come up with this?
I know.
Hey, wait a minute. What's that supposed to be?
Car's waiting outside. You will walk between us, saying nothing.
What are you talking about?
Let's go.
Let's go where? Who are you?
Mere errand boys carrying concealed weapons. His is pointed at your heart. So please, no errors of judgment, I beg of you.
Oh, come on, fellas. What is this, a joke or something?
Yes, a joke. We will laugh in the car. Come.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
No, it is, and you're right. I mean, well, with all of Hitchcock, but this one is like on super speed. It's like
but it was like the reason I say it's light, because you look at some of Hitchcock's things, like obviously The Birds or the Wrong Man or all
Psycho.
these Psycho.
Hello.
Like they're all really
horrible dark.
I remember watching The Wrong Man with my eldest, and he was only maybe 10, 11. And
it's really upsetting.
Gone. It's so upsetting. It's like,
so upsetting.
Why keep doing this to and it's really
it's truly. Yes, I think what's the one with the necktie? Frenzy.
Frenzy.
It does. At the end, you're like, gosh, all right, I guess, yes, we really are. The golden era is over. I guess don't know what was going on in that marriage.
Yeah.
Don't want to know. But so he has this cameo. We have all of the great stuff. And now I was going to tell you a little bit about Marty Landau.
Mm-hmm.
He had been in acting school with Jimmy Dean.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided he'd done a play on Broadway, and it was a Patty Chayefsky, and I love Patty Chayefsky, and with Edward G. Robinson, and Hitchcock saw it, and he said, "Oh, I want that young guy in my movie," and he decided. And if you watch the film again, it's really interesting. He plays Leonard, the hitman, as gay.
All right,
he's in love with Cary Grant.
Yeah,
and when you watch it, you can and he's actually in love with James Mason, but then he also gets torn. So you can watch him being torn about his feelings for these men, and it's really good.
I'll have to have
it's really interesting.
Going back and looking at that again.
And he just decided, and it was all a subtle thing. It was just that inner decision.
Yeah.
And when you watch it, and so when he wants to get rid of Eva Marie Saint because it looks like she's going to take James Mason from him. And it's just really good. Yeah. It's really wonderful acting.
Yeah.
I'm an advertising man, not a red herring. I've got a job, a secretary, a mother, 2 ex-wives, and several bartenders dependent upon me. And I don't intend to disappoint them all by getting myself slightly killed.
The crop duster that we were talking about in Empire Magazine rated it, and it might be true, it's just the greatest movie moment of all time because it comes so out of nowhere, and it's so real, and it's just, it is a crop dusting plane with guns, and it's going to take you out, and there's nowhere to go.
No, that's the thing. That's the reason why you get so like I think I've probably had nightmares about that.
Yeah,
in your dreams. That is a nightmare. So I have got nowhere to hide.
Right.
And there's a plane
coming, and they're going to kill me, And Hitchcock's movie, it was over 2 hours, but he had a contract saying that he could cut his own films. And so he left it long, and that was it. And he refused to it. And it totally plays.
Bomb is long.
Totally plays. I mean, what could you cut?
I know.
I couldn't cut anything from that movie. And I see a lot of movies where I'm thinking, oh, man, you could have cut 20 minutes out of that, and I would have been a lot happier.
That's just the credits.
Yeah. And so I think one of the other things that was quite specific in the film. If you notice, Cary Grant's in that same gray suit
Right.
throughout.
Oh, yeah.
That beautiful suit.
Yeah, of course.
And it has influenced everyone from Tom Cruise and Ben Affleck to even today, that amazing, beautiful gray suit.
Yeah.
And
sharp
cut, and it defined him. And it was really That's like, oh, that's Cary Grant,
style.
And that's this style, that's this thing, and he brought that to the role, which I think also made the film so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's I think at the very it was one of the top grossing films of the year. For sure. Total crowd pleaser. Yeah. One of those movies you could go with your friends and go, hey, let's go see that again. I think one of the great moments in the film is the very, very ending. And Hitchcock was having his fun with the code board. You still were in this, film rating code days. And the train goes through the tunnel. Yeah. At the very end with our lovers on board.
And that's something that Monty Python used in their
that's right.
They're kind of, I think it's at the beginning of Life of Brian or something like that, but or Meaning of Life, but they've used the train in the tunnel. It's that again, that's been parodied.
Yes.
It's a successful shot when it gets parodied.
Yes, and it was terrific. He's so funny.
Yeah.
So naughty.
Jack Phillips, Western Sales Manager for Kingby Electronics.
No, you're not. You're Roger Thornhill of Madison Avenue, and you're wanted for murder on every front page in America. And don't be so modest.
Oops.
Oh, don't worry. I won't say a word.
How come?
I told you. It's a nice face.
Is that the only reason?
It's going to be a long night.
True.
And I don't particularly like the book I've started.
Ah.
You know what I mean?
Let me think. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. That's my trademark, rot.
Roger O. Thornhill. What does the O stand for?
Nothing.
Now, this is the other manly man.
Okay.
Bond, James Bond.
I was wondering if we were going to do a Bond one.
Yeah, I got to it.
Nice.
Dr. No.
Okay.
1962.
Haven't seen Dr. No in, I cannot tell you, 25 years.
Yeah. Right. I mean, there's a period you go through where you watch every James Bond.
We watched Giant Bond. Yeah. My friend was like from university. So I've watched a few Bond films, and he's a Bond maniac. And went, you're watching every Bond film. Let's go.
Right.
And so
well, this one is the obvious choice because my favorite Bond is in this one. That's Sean Connery.
Yep.
I know everybody is doing their thing and Daniel Craig and all that, but it's not much fun anymore. Sean Connery was sexy.
He's sexy. He smiled.
He smiled. He was funny.
It wasn't the Roger Moore smile, which is the lascivious kind of. I'm not saying that's not slanderous. I'm just saying that character when you didn't trust. But when Sean Connery smiled, it was the charming.
It was charming.
Oh man!
And it's like, all right, well, they're having dessert upstairs in the room.
Yeah.
He was great.
Yeah.
He was really, really great. The very first Bond, the very, very first James Bond, though, was Barry Nelson.
Right.
In a 1953 three-episode, a series of Casino Royale.
Okay.
And it was, I think, Trevor Howard, Stanley Baker, Rex Harrison, David Niven, all, wanted to be James Bond.
Right, yeah. I mean,
and there is what's interesting about this James Bond with Sean Connery, it's the only time in a James Bond movie that James Bond sings.
Underneath the mango tree, my honey and me.
Who's that?
So it's really great, and it was the. I mean, he's just incredible as in the role. But for those of you who don't know this film, haven't seen it, so it's 1962. Terrence Young directed. The writers were Richard Madbaum, Joanna Harwood, and Burley Mather from the Ian Fleming novel. Terrence Young, the director, and another writer, Wolf Makowitz, worked on the treatment. The DP was Ted Moore. Monty Norman is credited as the composer, but John Barry, who came in and scored, rearranged it, and there was a real fight over who had that. James Bond, and then Monty Norman won in court.
Wow.
But they really had to go to court. And, but Norman's music, the producers didn't like, that's why Barry was brought in. But that theme, it's so iconic.
So is that, that basically stayed Monty's, and that's
credited.
And
they had a trial, and Barry, testified that he'd composed the theme, but Norman was obligated to receive credit for the score. So even though John Barry really did all the music, that little thing, and the fact that Norman had been contracted, gave Monty Norman the rights to the theme. So really interesting, isn't it? Oh God, intellectual property sometimes. It's like, whoa. It makes your head hurt. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So Ian Fleming wrote the story of Dr. No in 1956. It was just an episode for a TV show that was never done called James Gunn, Secret Agent.
Nice.
And a couple of the working titles, because they're hilarious. One is Commander Jamaica. No, Commander Jamaica.
Yeah.
And The Wound Man.
Wound Man.
Yeah, no, I just can't.
Who, that person should have been fired straight away, just for even suggesting that's even a good title.
Right. And that story ended up becoming his 6th James Bond novel. And he based Dr. No on Dr. Fu Manchu from the old Charlie Chan, silent movies.
Yeah.
So United Artists agreed to finance the movie, and all the studios were rejecting it because it was too British and too sexy. So once we got past that and they were casting, Sean Connery was turned down by UA, and then they rescinded because he'd done Darby O'Gill and the Little People in 1959, and he just he watched The Fist Fight with Sean Connery with the bully, and I've seen that movie, but I barely remember it.
I have not seen it, so I won't be able to say anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I think it's a Disney little kid Disney movie about little. Forget the midgets from Wizard of Oz. These are like the little people. This should be called Darby O'Gill and the really little people, or the wee people.
The wee people.
So Cubby Broccoli and his wife saw the movie, and she just said, Jesus, that guy is sexy. And that's how he got the role. So he was and what's interesting, he played this slick, sexy, really clearly a public schoolboy spy, and he was Scottish working class, which was wonderful.
I've used the Beretta for 10 years. I've never missed with a jet.
Yeah, maybe not, but it jammed on your last job, and you spent 6 months in hospital in consequence. If you carry a 00 number, it means you're licensed to kill, not get killed. And another thing, since I've been head of MI7, there's been a 40% drop in 00 operative casualties, and I want it to stay that way. You'll carry the Walter. Unless, of course, you prefer to go back to standard intelligence duties.
No, sir. I would not.
Then from now on, you carry a different gun. Show him, Amra.
Walter PPK. 7.65 mil with a delivery like a brick through a plate glass window. Takes a Brausch silencer with very little reduction in muzzle velocity. The American CIA swear by them.
Thank you, Major Brotherrider.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Any questions, 007?
No, sir.
All right, then. Best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
So your James Bonds, just for the Bondophiles out there, because there's a lot to go. We'll do a whole Bond thing at some point. When I'm like 80. Because Sean Connery's my favorite.
Yeah.
So we have Sean Connery from 61 to 71. And then he did come back in the Never Say Never Again in 83. Roger Moore, 73 to 85. Tim Dalton in 1987. And then Pierce. And then for the last, decade has been Daniel Craig pretty much. Right. And now there's going to be a woman Bond.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting. It's if they're going to keep the franchise going.
Well, I think there'll be a woman uproar that has it's a completely different thing. That there were people on anti-social media,
right?
Like 007 is
a fictitious character.
007 is the code they give to that person. Like man, woman, non-specific, doesn't matter.
No,
it's not James
silly.
Bond. It's 007
is the number, and he's retired, so they give it to someone new.
Exactly.
Yes, hello. I'll be curious to see. For me, the problem with the stories is the stories aren't as good. They're not as. It's just not as much fun because they feel like they've gotten in a hole with,
They need to go back and watch North by Northwest.
They do need to go back and watch North. Exactly, you can have a really good baddie, and you don't need 25 weeks of CGI caca.
CGI caca. That's a great name for a jazz band.
And look, I watch CGI stuff, but it's, I have my limit.
Yeah, sure.
I'd rather see a plane fly in the sky with bullets coming out of the wings.
Yeah. Nice.
And running.
Yes.
With my poodle.
Yeah.
So he played Bond 7 times, Sean Connery, and he had to wear wigs. He was losing his hair. He did have his hair in the first one, and then it was like, it's getting too thin, buddy. By Goldfinger, he was being bewigged, but
right.
That's right. Now the great and wonderful pose, the James Bond pose, had to be redone at the last second, and they forgot the gun at the studio, and the photographer had an air pistol in his car. So it's actually an air pistol that he's holding.
Love it.
Now, what was the photographer doing having an air pistol in his car?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't want to know about it. I thought, well, what? What do you do? What? You have an air pistol in your car.
Although he would have been everyone's best friend on the day, saving that day.
Yes, and is that an air pistol in your pocket? Are you happy to see me? I don't know. I mean, gee whiz, who knew? But there's so many iconic things. There's him, with in the pose. There's the gun barrel opening, which is a little bit of an homage to a movie that probably nobody's seen, but of course I have, called Juarez with Paul Muni in 1939. And why have I seen it? I don't know. I just somebody probably locked me in a room with it, and I just had to watch it.
Yeah.
But Paul Muni was kind of the Al Pacino of his day. He was a really great actor. He was probably the first really great method actor on film. So there was this really wonderful close-ups and things, and so that opening with all of the close-ups and James Bond, and it was an homage to this movie. So it's really great when you see something and you're like, okay, that was in 1939. This is like 30 years later, and now you're homaging already. And so it's and it was a guy named Maurice Binder designed the gun barrel opening.
Yep.
Which is fabulous. That whole pinhole thing.
Yeah.
And it's terrific. And they used a stuntman, and then Connery filmed it in Thunderball, but then they redid it with Sean Connery.
Right.
So it's really fun when you see these things evolve, evolution. And there's only one time there's only twice you've ever seen James Bond's apartment. Once in Live and Let Die, and Spectre.
Right. Okay.
Otherwise, he doesn't have a personal life. It's so interesting. So one of the things they did in Dr. No, if you remember, it's very funny. It's really, really funny. So it's laughter, sex, and violence. Yeah. And he just said if it's played straight, we'll never get past the censors. But if we can keep everyone laughing and stick your tongue out.
Like winking it almost. Yeah.
Yes, and that's what works.
Yeah.
I'll make you a Chinese dinner here.
No. I'm feeling Italian and musical. Let's go to the Blue Mountain Grill.
I'd rather stay here. It's more fun. Alone?
Yes, but I don't want you getting dishpan hands.
I like cooking.
Forget it. May I use your phone?
Who are you ringing?
Taxi. James Bond here. Can I have a car sent to 2171 Magenta Drive? Yes, as soon as you can, please. Thank you.
I thought you came by car.
Damn thing wouldn't start. Engine trouble.
That explains.
Explains what?
Why you need a taxi.
Why I need a taxi?
Careful, my nail varnish.
It's really, and that's what's missing now. It's so dour. And like, oh my goodness, can we, what are you made of granite? And I love Daniel Craig, but you know, I can't wait for him to do something new. I'm really looking forward to it. So Ian Fleming watched the movie. What do you think he said about it?
Oh, I don't know. Crap, I don't know.
Dreadful.
Okay.
Close.
I know, because you can just,
close.
I know, but
Yeah. And so it was, I think of the plots, it was the most straightforward.
Yeah.
It was really simple. And they were in Jamaica the whole time. So it was a really, it was a fantastic shoot, fantastic location. They had all that ocean. And they had that beautiful newcomer named Ursula Andress in her little bikini.
White bikini with the conch shell or whatever it is.
Yes, and she's holding all the shells.
Yeah.
Do you see my shells?
I know.
Yes, he sees your
I'm
shells,
looking
honey.
at your shells, babe. That's horrible.
Those are some shells. Wow. This is where he sings the Mango Tree here.
Oh.
Underneath the mango tree, my honey and me.
Who is that?
It's all right. I'm not supposed to be here either. I take it you're not. Are you alone?
What are you doing here? Looking for shells?
No, I'm just looking.
Stay where you are.
I promise I won't steal your shells.
I promise you won't either. Stay where you are.
I can assure you my intentions are strictly honorable.
It was her only role. She was booked before interviews. They'd seen her in an ad. She joined the production, and Julie Christie almost got the part, and then Cubby Broccoli thought her body was too thin. She was too thin. Right. So Ursula got the role, but then she was dubbed by someone who had to dub her for all of her movies, for the Blue Max and in Casino Royale. So she just wasn't. I guess her voice was too. Probably her accent.
I think it still happens. It happens today. You know, I've redubbed an entire performance.
Right.
You know, because somebody thought the voice wasn't right, and I think it's.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
I think it's slowly dying. People are becoming much more international. But back then I could imagine them going, "What? Well, I don't understand her."
Well, and the lovely swimsuit that's one of the iconic moments. Her coming out of the water in that
was
little white
by
suit,
Halle Berry, wasn't it?
Right. It was a Saks Fifth Avenue bra with an army belt.
Perfect.
And the bikini bottom.
Yeah.
The bikini suit bottom. And it sold in 2001 at auction for, take a guess.
Oh, a couple $100,000?
Oh, no, about 35,000.
Okay.
Pounds.
All right.
That's still a lot.
You never know. I've been so wrong with all these numbers. I inflated my guess.
Well, I think it was good. I don't want to go low with with her swimsuit. For Saks Fifth Avenue bra. I'm sure that's the most anyone's ever paid for one.
Wow. Yeah.
But it was the first movie with tons of product placement.
Really?
When you watch it, Rolex watches, Pan Am Airlines, Dom Perignon.
James Bond is always name dropping. Like always.
Yes. Smirnoff.
Yeah.
BOAC, all this stuff. Funny, isn't it?
I didn't even think of that, Janet.
Yeah. Well, and Ian Fleming had a cousin who was a very famous actor named Christopher Lee.
Oh, yeah.
And he wanted him to play Dr. No, and he didn't. But he later would be in another James Bond movie.
Oh, yes.
Later. Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah.
So it was really funny that, and there, so what, Christopher Lee's your cousin? You find out these weird things, right? They even asked Noel Coward to play him.
You're joking.
And Noel Coward, I love Noel Coward.
I
So
know.
Noel Coward's response in the telegram was, Dr. No, 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 no. You know, he's the one who, when he saw Peter O'Toole in Lawrence of Arabia. And when this opening night, and they walked out into the lobby, and he just looked to his friends and said, "My God, he's so beautiful. They should really call it Florence of Arabia." But and let's see. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of the reception wasn't so great, and I have a few movie reviews of the movie. It was a hit. And but this, like the Spectator magazine, the British magazine, called it grotesque and was very dismissive.
Really? I wonder why that was. Or...
Well, I think it's because it wasn't British.
Right.
I mean, I think it was a little sexier and naughtier and probably a little more American in some of its attitudes.
Yeah.
And it's it's just a wonderful, but and to watch Sean Connery blossom as James Bond, seducing the women. And he just has such, when he's getting his gun from the quartermaster from Cuba and learning all his bits and bits. It's so much fun, and you're just with him.
Yeah.
And he just carried it off. And I think everyone has their own take, but do you have a favorite James Bond?
Well, no, I love Sean Connery. I love that. I mean, and it's, that was kind of the introduction. That's horrible, and people are going to slay me, but Roger Moore wasn't my favorite.
Right.
To really, I think I felt Pierce Brosnan again. What a lovely guy. I just thought it was completely different. I didn't feel he was big enough or whatever. Right. Daniel Craig, they've all been different.
Very
Pierce
different.
Brosnan, the smaller guy, the intellectual. Daniel Craig, almost like the cage fighter. Yeah. Roger Moore, he's just like the
country estate lord.
Yeah, exactly. The Eton boy.
Yes.
And Sean Connery, you can see the working man in him figuring shit out as he goes along.
Yeah.
And
I kind of I just enjoyed that. Yeah.
I'm with you. Sean Connery is a lot of people's favorite.
Bond. Yeah. There's just something in the way it all came together. But in the Bonds, there have been 26 Bonds.
Yeah.
And I think it was Casino Royale where David Niven did play him. Yeah. And Spectre was 2015, and we have the new one coming out, right?
Yep.
And
Sam Mendes.
Yeah. And then we have $1 million. It was £1 million to make the first one.
Wow.
And I know now they spend like $100 million. Or
I
something.
know. Well, and the rest
or more. Yeah. I know, it's crazy. But there's the first real Bond.
Wow.
James Bond. Bond.
I won't even try an accent.
That's a great quote. That's a great Bond.
Yes.
James Bond. Well, I can do it because I'm a woman.
Well, this is the thing. Again, movie moments brought into people parody it all the time. All the time.
Yeah, because it's so much fun. Cinema Sounds and Secrets is a production of CSS Sounds. Original music by the composer and pianist Merv DePayer. Sumptuous sound editing by Sam Boulier. Right-hand help from the super efficient Owen Hassler, and deepest gratitude to the excellent John Schwab for his production support, love of film, and good humor. And, as always, with special thanks to Pendleton. Join me here next time when we visit the sexy 70s through the eyes of a disco king and a midnight cowboy.
Cinema Sounds and Secrets will be back with more movie lore before you can say, now, what can a man do with his clothes off for 20 minutes?
20 minutes? The mind boggles. But take a guess on the film. I'm Janet Doolin-Jones. You can find out much more on our website on the films in today's podcast, along with recommendations on where to find films, on great books on cinema, special interviews with filmmakers, and more. And please send me your questions and thoughts at cinemasoundsandsecrets.com.